Okay, continuation with the previous session. So day 5 session 2. So here I'm going to be discuss about the concepts of the prompt engineering for enabling a better AI communication. So here we are going to be understanding the what exactly the prompt engineering. So how it is playing a crucial role in communicating the AI. Followed by we should understanding the different types of the prompt types and how to improve the AI outputs with this particular prompt engineering concept. And also we will see different real cases for better understanding these prompts. So here every day we are using this particular buzzword called generative AI. So one technology which is behind these AI-based prompt tools. One important thing which we are using over here is not every AI tool is based on the generative AI, but most of the powerful AI tools which are backed by this particular generative AI base. So first here we should understanding what exactly this particular generative AI. I'm not going into the technical aspect of the generative AI. So a simple overview what exactly this particular generative AI. So the name it is clearly telling generative. It is telling the generating. So generating means it is generating the new content. So earlier, when you are communicating with the any databases, so for example, if you say if you are seeing some sort of the results or whatever it is, so there is a fixed database over in the back end. So you communicate with the database, it is going to be provide the content what is there in that database. The relevance information it is only giving you. Okay, but here what is happening with this particular generative AI is, so you train the model with the existing parameters or existing data. So that may be a text data, that may be image data, audio data, okay, videos, anything. That is what we can call the multimodal data. So you train it, and if you ask something, so then what happens? It is going to be create some new information from the existing knowledge, which is going to be create the new information from the existing knowledge. Something like that. You have a car image database. So you are having multiple car image database in your data. So you ask one prompt something like that. I am a car designer. I want to be create some new car which is not like the existing cars. Then what happens? The prompt itself we are clearly asking that I want the new car design which is not existed into the existing database. So with the prior knowledge, so it has an idea what will be the car. It has some chassis, four wheels, or some dashboard or something like that. So based on that, based on the existing data and the existing patterns, so it is going to be give you generate with the same features. It is going to be generate some new design. That is what this particular generative AI is actually doing. So it creates the new content from the existing text, images, code, audio, video by learning its patterns. So that it is going to be create some new information to you. So that is what exactly this particular generative AI is doing as a black box approach I am talking about. So black box approach means, so for example, you want to be know about how the fan operates. You switch on the fan, it rotates. That is the black box approach. Okay, so you give some input prompt, you will generate some output. What is happening means, so it is using some generative AI models. So what is happening over here means it is using some electricity. But what is happening inside, you want to be going depth, so you need to be understanding through the white box approach. How the wiring is done, how the motor is fixed, and what are the other components are available. So likewise, if you go in depth, it is the CSC or LUI thing. So here we are not going to be create a new chart GPT or new Gemini, but here we are learning how to better make use of it. I think everybody is making use of these particular tools, but how better, if you are not aware of it, how better we can make use of these particular tools. So some of the examples for this particular generative AI is one is prominent tool is the chart GPT, Gemini, Claude, Midjourney. So these are all the few popular generative AI tools. And what's behind under this particular tool is under the generative AI, there is the one important model you should understand it is the LLM, large language model, which is actually processing your data. What exactly this particular large language model? Precisely I am going to tell is, so whatever we are talking, that means whatever the statement we are reading under the prompt. Okay, so it is going to be processed token by token. Token is nothing like a word. Okay, so everything it is going to be stored under the matrices. Again, if we go in depth, it is interlinked to the mathematics only. Because without maths, we can't do anything, especially in the field of the AI. Everything it will be stored under the mathematics in the matrices format. It will be converted back into the zeros and ones. Okay, so whatever the word you are using, that word will be tokenized. So every statement is tokenized. So word by word it is going to be divided, and each word is going to be assigned to the one matrix, and the relevant words are there in the existing database or not, it is going to be verified. It understands the pattern, and according to you are going to be get the relevant information, not the exact information I am saying. We are going to get the relevant information mostly. It is going to be mapped with the existing. That means existing here means, for example, I developed one model, something like the chart GPT. Okay, so whatever the data I have considered, that is the essential point. From the data only, it is going to be giving the result. And another important thing is, which is not something like a live search. This generative AI model is not a live search engine. Google is the live search engine. Unlike this is not a live search engine. So there is a pre-existing model is there, which on that I have trained. Only based on the trained information only we are getting the data. So the backbone for the most of these generative AI tools are nothing but the large language model. So that means you take your input from it, process it, tokenize the process. Tokenizing means so it is going to be training. What will be the next code based on the previous codes? So it is going to be tokenize the process and going to be generate the output. It is generating your from the input prompt. So these are the two basic things I want to be explained. So understanding what is mean by the generative AI as a summary, and similarly what behind this particular generative AI, what driven this particular generative AI is one important aspect is the large language models, LLMs. Sir.
In this next thing in I want to give some I'm expecting how to make some structures, not unstructured. Some structures I need to give some this course, this content. I'm looking for we are previous initiative after complete. After getting I want to learn complete. This coming after. So in that can we get structure?
Yes, sir. Because I didn't get into that particular topic. So once we go into this prompts and all, then I think you will get clarified this particular.
Get this structure.
Which tool you have read, sir?
I usually this
Chart
and more thing DeepSeek.
DeepSeek.
But somehow I missed the document. I want to.
Okay. I will show you one more tool so that you try that tool, sir. That is also.
One more thing is not yet
Yeah.
Very difficult to extract the large data. In such cases, agent KNA concept fixed. Agent KNA possibility to take the inputs as a generative AI
That scenario is advanced
and
prompting.
you have to use the GAN stats and that, and that it is going to generate the one like
Yes.
data for particular command, especially when it is supply chain
Yes.
or manufacturing or banking product. Can we assume check the language also? It is highly valid to use for the research purpose.
Yes.
In some client is confidential in such cases. I hope this is valid, but
Yes, sir.
for research, especially data.
Because mostly whatever the publicly available data is there, that is only these prompts are going to be fetched. So mostly non-disclosure data we are not able to be fetched. That is whatever the disclosed outside the public network only those data only we are able to be.
Also problem on these wholesale.
Yes.
Very difficult to collect the real
Yes.
data. In such situations, even large data sets are required.
Large data sets, especially maybe.
Data,
It is actually going to be provide you the links and only if it is available in their existing trained model, it is going to be provide you the links. So maybe in that, for example, Amazon data set is there. If it is available, it is going to be provided. Otherwise, we need to be build our own data set manually because Google there is a data set name called OID, Open Image Data Set. So still Google is recruiting the people, volunteers to build the data set because they have already achieved around 10 million images. So they need to be annotate the image for that they require the people. So likewise, almost every company is hiring for building those data sets. If it is publicly available, then these GPTs are helpful for fetching that information. Agentic AI is completely a different concept. Yeah. Synthetic data, yeah. So it can build the synthetic data obviously. Maybe we can provide, for example, 100 images, we can provide this chat GPT. So if we ask 2000 images, so it creates some synthetic data to us and that we can use it if it is valid for that particular university research purpose.
That's a lot of
Yeah.
research also I just have
Yeah. Actually, I thought of explaining the research part also, but tomorrow's session is on Dean R&D, so my other is going to be explained the so I'm not touching that one. Yeah. Yeah, sure. So now moving on to this particular prompt engineering. So what exactly is this particular prompt engineering? As I said, so writing down the prompt is also one of the important aspects for getting the relevant predictor. So that is why I said it is an art and science. So how effectively you can craft your data, how craft your prompt, and how efficiently you can write your input. So it is an art and science of crafting input to get the best possible, not 100% I am saying, to get the best possible output from the given AI system. AI system here means any kind of an AI based tool, if you can take. Okay, so what exactly this particular prompt engineering? So the prompt engineering deliberate practice of design, refining. So here you should understand it. Designing, refining, optimizing. These are the three important because it is a continuous cycle. The way you design your prompt, so then the way you refine your prompt for the better optimization. So for what you are doing all these things to get the required output. So the prompt engineering is an art of deliberating the practice of the design, refining, optimizing the text input for the given AI system to achieve the specific high quality outputs. Specific high quality output. So that is what exactly this particular prompt engineering. So let us try to understand what are the things we should consider under while creating a prompt. So there will be a 6 important parameters. So if you can understand these 6 important parameters, so if you make sure to see these 6 important parameters in your prompt, so definitely it should be a good prompt. Not a 100% prompt, but it should be a good prompt. So one important thing is the role, another one is the task, another one is the context, another one is the constraint, fifth one is the output format, and sixth one is the tone. So let us see one by one. What is the role? So AI is a system, no voice system. So it is a general system. It has multiple data. So ranging from the different verticals, different domains. Okay. So from that, our objective is different. The AI is a general database. So where we need to be fetch our data. So we should think that AI with our minds. So that is what first we need to be understanding a role. Okay, something like that. What should AI do? What should AI do? So next one is the task. So this is the primary question you are posing to the AI. So what task you are actually giving to the AI? That means your problem. The task you need to be clearly specified. Should clearly specify. Any task here, this is a generalized scenario I'm talking about. The task might be anything. That is what exactly you want to be getting. Okay, for that only you are interacting with the AI. So the task you need to be clearly specified. And then next important thing is the context. This is where mostly everybody misses. Context. The relevant background. The relevance background you need to be specified clearly. For what you are doing this particular task. Why you are doing this particular task. The relevant context you should provide to the AI system clear. For example, I want to be prepare a lesson plan. Okay, maybe the cyber security subject. What is the context? Who am I first? I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I'm a student. Who am I? So the role needs to be clearly specified. Assuming that what is my role? I'm an assistant professor, associate professor, or a professor. Okay, you clearly tell that act as a professor or act as an associate professor or act as a teacher or act as an educator so that the AI is going to be check the data in line with that particular thing. And next, what is the context here? The context. That means for whom, why you are getting this particular problem. I am creating a lesson plan. Lesson plan for whom? Lesson plan for I need third BTech CSE students. So that means I am mentioning the year, I am mentioning the which graduate, that means what is the study the particular people doing. So these things I need to be specified, the relevant background I am giving, so that according, maybe first year, it is going to give the some other information. For second year, it understands, okay, this is only the level of 2, it is going to give the some information. Maybe final year, it is going to give the some information. Or maybe I am requiring to deliver for this FTP. So, according to the context, it is going to be provide you the relevant information. So, the correct research context, the research background, the relevant background is very much essential. The many prompts, this particular context is missing. Mostly what I observe. And next one is the constraint. This is also one of the important. What are your constraints? So your task need to be divided into this context, constraint, output form. So what is your constraint? So my constraint is I am creating a lesson plan for 50 minutes. Okay. So for that a student's time of 70. And assume that you have a grip knowledge on your class. In that class, there will be a 30% students of the slow learners, some 30% students are the average learners, and remaining all are the fast learners. So in such a way that keep it in your mind, I need to be design a lesson plan. These are all my constraints. So in 50 minutes, I need to be deliver a lecture. So these are the constraints. So I cannot deliver the content to entirely to the same way uniformly. I need to be cater all sort of students. So the constraints you clearly specify in that particular prompt. So then, in which way you require your result. Otherwise, the ChatGPT or whatever the tool you have used, it gives some, it's in their own form. I need some tabular format with these parameters. At least, if you are not aware of it, give some hint to that particular A. So it should understand and it will give you. Then you need to be refined. Then you need to be optimized. That is where the definition I discussed. At a single prompt, definitely we cannot achieve the 100% what we expected. So then what we need to be doing in the second iteration, we need to be optimized. That means we need to be refined, then optimize your result. So then the tone. So tone is very much essential. It used because worldwide these particular tools are available. So we should clearly specify. Maybe you can specify that I'm an Indian. So these students are from the village background or something like that. You can so use in a simple language term so that it is going to be generated. Try to be generated in that context. So the tone is also very much essential. See here one example, voice and style. So use a friendly and conversational tone suitable for the Gen Z. So it is also. So the target audience, based on the target audience for whom you are presenting. For example, I am generating a PPT. I am presenting it. So every day, something like every month, MC management councils meetings are there. I want to be prepare some content. I have every content is available for my departments. So I want to be generate through they are using the content through this particular tools. So I specify. So my constraint is I am presenting for the MC meeting. I have only the 50 minutes of time. So during that period, and the tone it should be very professional. The tone should be very professional. Maybe not be high level, but it should be professional and it should be understandable to the chairman, secretary, principal. So likewise, these things I am supposed to be provided in this particular thing. So actually these six parameters are the anatomy of any good prompt. Any prompt technique you take, anything you take, these are the six parameters. You need to be specify the role. What AI thinks like. You need to specify the role. Then the second important thing is your problem. That means for what you are asking the task. And the third one is the context, which is very, very essential. Otherwise, it is treated as a general statement and it is going to give you the answer. If you mention the context, accordingly, it refines things from. And then we need to understand the constraint. So if you have any constraint, specify that particular constraint part, followed by the output format. So output is also very much essential how you want to be presented. And then finally, this is a tone. You can mention it optionally. So you want to be a simple or professional way. So this is an example for how a good prompt can be formulated. This is one example I have taken. So for example, a role. I have taken my related subject, computer science subject. So here, role as act as an experienced professor of computer science with 20 years of teaching experience and expertise in OBE. Because while formulating the things also we should understand that we are always keeping in mind that OBE practices. Okay, so I am asking the ChatGPT or whatever the tool I am using. So you are an experienced professor in CSC, along with you are also expertise under the OBE, so that the preparation plan will be changed. Then the task. What is the task? So create a 50-minute lesson plan for the topic database normalization, which is one of the topic in the database DBMS for BTech CSC students. So this is the task I have assigned. Now, what is the context? The relevant background. So the relevant background I have given is the students are second year BTech students, CSC students. So they have already studied the DBMS and they know the SQL basics. something like some prerequisite I am providing. So the class length is 6. So whatever the student knows, I have given, and whatever the class length is given, I have given in this context. And what is my constraint? My constraint over here is limitations of the boundaries. You can set it if you want. So use simple language, include at least 2 real world examples while preparing that particular lesson plan so that I can properly deliberate the students. So ensure activities to be conducted within 50 minutes. That means different pedagogical activities where we can include in my 50 minutes of activities how the particular AI is designed and align learning outcomes with the Bloom's taxonomy. So always think in the OBE aspect and the output format. The output format should be provide the output in the tables with the columns, time, topic, teaching method, activity, learning outcome and assessment patterns. Okay, and the final term, so use professional and student friendly teaching approach. So all together you can put, so then this is your complete prompt. So generally we get a prompt, the kind of a result, simply generate the 50 minutes of the lesson plan within 1 or 2 lines also we are going to get. But which is a refined version, proper telling that AI, so that you are an experienced with this much of years of experience, you are expertise in this area. Okay, you are providing your constraints, you are providing the context, relevance. Okay, all these things if you are providing so that it is trying to be aligned with your all your objectives and give you the proper outcome. So that is where many of are actually finding or getting the relevant information. So there is no secrecy over here. Only thing is if you are always practice on this giving the 6 parameters. Make sure to be see all these 6 are there in your prompt. So definitely any tool here I am not promoting any tool you take. You are going to be depends upon the tool capacity. It is going to be give you the result. So this is the one of the important anatomy for the better getting of the prompt. So a simple examples, even you can try it. So this is a weak prompt and this is a strong prompt. So here weak prompt, write something about climate change. What actually missing that? Write something about climate change. Definitely it is going to give you the information related to the climate change. What is actually missing here? There is no role, no context, no output format, no constraint, and no tone. So the AI think that whatever the answer it knows, whatever the information which is available, whatever the limitation it needs to be added, only everything is decided by the AI and it provide you the result. Under which context it is going to be providing that particular result. So the topic is the general topic. Write something about the climate change. Who is actually asking? Nobody knows. Okay, so there's something like some kind of a refined format over here. You are an environmental science educator. So write for a high school student, explain the top 3 causes of the climate change in simple, engaging language. Followed by use bullet points, including one real-world example per cause, and keep total responses under the 250 words. Now, here in this prompt, what is the role? What is the role? Environmental science educator. Now, who are the audience? Students. Now, what is the task? What is the task? Top 3 causes of the climate change. That is the cause. And what is the format? Using the bullet points. And what is the constraint? What is the constraint? 250 words. The total response should be limited to the 250 words. Okay, with some examples. Example is also a constraint. Here we have asked some include one real world example per class. It is not going to be give maybe multiple examples, but at least one example should give, and also it should be limited to that particular one. Okay, and what is the tone?
Simple.
So here somewhere it is used simple, engaging language. So whatever the format it is, so make sure to be see that these parameters should be covered under your prompt. So definitely you are going to be get the better outcome than this particular prompt. So generally we used to be get the prompts like this, but make sure to be see the role, audience, task. So if you are keep on practicing these things, definitely you will be well aware of this making the prompts. So the basic prompt techniques. So there will be a several prompting techniques are available. Out of which there will be a 5 important prompt techniques. One is the zero shot prompt. Second one is the one shot, few shot, chain of thought, and instruction prompt. Okay. So let us see one by one what exactly these prompt techniques. So because these prompts are actually categorized based on how we are giving the prompts only. Something like the first one you take, zero shot. Straight away, you ask the thing, it is going to be provided with the answer. There is no context. There is no example. So that is what the zero shot. Explain about something. That's it. So there is no background relevance, there is no constraint, nothing, everything is there. Only thing is directly answer your question. Something like that, explain digital signature to BTech students. That's it. This is a zero shot form. That means we are not asking through any example. We are not asking the prompt through any example. Because these AI systems are not humans. These AI systems are not humans. So that whatever we ask, it tries to be confined to our question. So it is only given to the whatever the example it likes, it's going to be given. I am not saying it is not giving example, it will give example, but it may or may not give example, but the example is may not relevant to your context. That means your object. Whatever the example it knows are there, it is going to be provided. That is what the zero shot, only directly giving the prompt. So, no example provided by the user. A explains simply whatever the content it is there. That is what the zero shot. Second one is the one shot. Now, in the prompt, you include some example. In the prompt, you include some example. For example, so here I am giving asking one example in this. This is my prompt. So a firewall acts like a security guard controlling entry into the building. You know the term called firewall, everyone? System firewall. మన సిపి ల్యాబ్ లో సర్వర్ రూమ్ లో ఉంటుంది. వాట్ ఇస్ ఇట్స్ పర్పస్? జనరల్ గా ఒక బిల్డింగ్ తీసుకుంటే బిల్డింగ్ కి సెక్యూరిటీ గార్డ్ ఏం చేస్తారు? ఎంట్రీ రెస్ట్రిక్షన్ చేస్తారు. తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు వస్తే అలౌ చేస్తారు, తెలియని వాళ్ళు వస్తే ఆపి ఎవరు మీరని లోపల వాళ్ళతో కాంటాక్ట్ చేసి పంపిస్తారు. The same way I am asking to the system that is the actual role of the firewall. Firewall అనేది ఏంటంటే మన ఆర్గనైజేషన్ కి అవుట్ సైడ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ కి అదొక గోల్ కీపర్ లాగా. సో అవుట్ సైడ్ నుంచి ఏ కనెక్షన్ మన ఆర్గనైజేషన్ లోకి రావాలన్నా త్రూ ఫైర్వాల్ దాటుకుంటూ రావాలి. అలాగే ఇన్సైడ్ నుంచి ఏ డేటా కమ్యూనికేషన్ బయటకు వెళ్ళాలన్నా ఫైర్వాల్ ద్వారా వెళ్ళాలి. So here I am asking the firewall is acting like a security guard controlling entry into the building. So ఇలాంటి ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తే స్టూడెంట్ అర్థం అవుతుంది. సో అదే నేను చాట్ జీపీటీ గా ఏ అడుగుతున్నాను. So now explain digital signature in a similar way. There is a concept called the digital signatures. So firewall concept కి ఎలాగైతే ఒక మంచి రియల్ టైం ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఉన్నదో నాకు తెలిసిన ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నేను ఏ అడిగి the same way I am asking now explain digital signature in a similar way. Now this AI thing align with our existing example and it's trying to be provide the relevant example for the digital signature. That is what the expected outcome. So you are giving one example and after that you ask the question and you are getting the result. So this kind of an approach we can call it as a one shot. One shot means one example you are actually providing. You are providing some reference how you are getting your final outcome. So that is what one example is provided to guide the response format. Because A is there, we need to be tried accordingly as per our requirement. So this is best for analogies of the structured explanations. So this is for the one shot. And next one is the fusion. So more than one example is simply nothing but the fusion. So earlier only you provided one example. Here I am providing the multiple examples over here. In short form I have written something like that firewall, security guard, encryption is like a lockbox. Okay, and VPN, virtual private network is like a private tunnel. So I provided the three different kinds of examples I have provided, and after that I asked explaining about the digital signature in the same way. Earlier I have provided only the one guide. Now I have provided with the three guides. Now I am asking in a better way. So that it can give some multiple examples related to how the digital signatures are helpful in the cybersecurity world. So definitely when you are trying to be asking something to the AI, you should have a proper knowledge on that particular subject. So you should align with the some kind of a real world example. Because not every example that is there in the textbook may not be understood by the student. So we should always link with the some real world cases. Sir.
AI is how AI is disrupting the IT field. Still people are confused. A lot of IT is growing back. Some situations like business and
Yes.
are functional kind of maybe it is going to laborize. I understand, but it is not going to.
Almost many roles are taken over by the AI itself.
Whenever there is a human
Yes. That is why the previously I said architects are very much essential. AI is not an art, definitely not an architect. That is where human intervention is required.
what was functional analyst and functional consultant and business analyst was
Yes, sir. That is where actually these agentic AI is actually taken over, which are designed by this particular company called Anthropic. So they are almost trying in these particular aspects. That is how a business analyst think. That is what are the roles of the business analyst. All these things are actually taken over by AI. That is why this particular US is actually sanctioning some imposers of utilizing this particular software. Recent, I think you may aware or not. US is restricted some impose on this particular anthropic AI, where it is only should be available for the US citizens only, not the other citizens. Maybe if they are living in the US or maybe the outside the world. Recently, maybe 1 week back only, they have imposed these sanctions.
quality is now time to market is
Yes.
model and all is SAP rules too much requirements.
Now everywhere this AI is making a highly impact, sir.
That is SAP little impact what I heard. Other because they have own product system application products in that.
Till long back also, IBM think that there will be a no system which can break their mainframe. That means everything is written under the COBOL. The conversion is very tough. But Anthropic challenge. Yeah.
Might be
Now Anthropic challenge it, they are able to be converted into the whatever language you want.
might be for SAP also slowly
Yeah, definitely. So it is continuously rapidly evolving the changes we should accept, and definitely maybe at some point of the time we used to be make use of this particular AI tools for better understanding for the better productivity.
what I heard is almost middle layer is wiping out.
But
Only CEOs and IDPs.
yes. So because for the manual intervention and for better decision making analysis which are required. Yes. Yes. Yes.
I wanted to understand.
Yes.
How the height is very true or too high.
It's true actually. So the next one is the few shot and followed by the chain of thought. This is where you require some sort of an explanation. For example, a mathematical problem is there. Okay. So for example, a simple example, 2 into 2 equal to 4. Directly you are getting your answer. But you want to be understand how it is actually about. You want to be explained through some step-by-step analysis. Okay, so something like that. I switch on this fan, the fan rotates. The input and output is there, but I need to be understanding that every step. What is happening in that every step. So by this case, you can go for this chain of thought prompt. So what is the interlink? Every step, what it is actually performing, it is going to be explained every step and how it is connected to the next step. So this chain of prompting is very much essential. Something like earlier, explain the distance signature step by step and create how it is actually being created and how it is actually being verified. So, which is going to be provide every stage, in every stage what is happened and how it is connected for the next stage. So this is where actual reasoning is going to be taken. So that is why it is best fit for something like the algorithms, reasonings and process oriented. So the question how we are asking is also very much essential. Simply explaining the distance signature concept is not essential. So it will give some approach. But if I ask in a chain of thought process, so that it is going to be explained not only this subject, any topic you take, which is going to be explained this particular aspect. And the last one is the instruction prompting. So which is not a separate prompting technique, it is something like a complex prompt where we can mix all together in one prompt so that which is customizable prompt. So the instruction prompt, something like we used to be something, we create a 50-minute lesson plan on the distance signature including learning outcomes, activities, MCQs, Bloom taxonomy, LLM. So we are instructing mixing of all the multiple prompts into a single prompt. So actually this is a customizable prompt. So that explicitly instructions define the further expected output. So mostly these are the four prompts. One is the zero shot, second one is the one shot, third one is the few shot, and fourth one is the chain of thought prompt. Sometimes you can come across as the step-by-step prompting also. So the chain of thought prompting mixes with the different names. The only thing is what you should understanding is when you want to go for the detailed reasoning step by step, how you need to be explained to the students. So in such cases, you can go for this particular example, chain of thought prompt. So few advanced prompting techniques are also there. Something like I just want to be elaborate what are these advanced prompting techniques. Something like the persona prompting, prompt chaining, tree of thoughts, react prompt. These are all the advanced techniques. Persona prompting. Something like that. You need to be asked the so-called AI tool. For example, you want to be know about some sort of medical information. Okay, so then what you need to be doing is you need to be acted as a doctor in this particular field. You have this much of experience. You are working in some London or maybe some UK or some other countries prominent hospital. So you are having done these many of the surgeries. So then you need to be asked your question. So you are making. So this is also called thing like you are creating a role for the particular thing. Even for the personal information also, you are asking. For example, you act as a nutritionist. So you tell your problem. So my height is this, my weight is this. I am taking this much of the diet, but I have these significant factors on my everyday lifestyle or metabolism. So how I can improve? So whatever it is giving is not 100% definitely whatever the amount of the data which is there, based on that it tried that it is going to be given. But it's nothing like even in the WhatsApp, the meta is also giving the good amount of the results. So the next one is the prompt chaining. So the chain of thought and prompt chaining which are somewhat interlinked. The prompt chaining is something like you divide the complex task into the individual tasks. So that means first task is created, the output is connected to the input for the next task. That is how it is going to be formulate your process, especially mostly useful for the research, formulating the papers. Introduction. Okay, so that what you are going to general thing I am telling, followed by the literature survey. So then you write your methodology, then you write your results, then you write your discussion, then you write your conclusion, then you write the references.
Is that GitHub host the data? Is that useful?
So there are many tools are available, sir. Especially Research Rabbit and Elicit, these are more one prominent, widely accepted by the researchers, especially for formulating. And of course, Perplexity is also good for the literature, sir. And then the three of thoughts. So three of thoughts is trying to be understand the what is the central concept. Okay, how the concept is expanded. Okay, so what is the branch? What are the leaves? So that means you should understanding in a hierarchical approach. So if you want to be know about the topic, so if you want to be know the hierarchy, where to start, where to end, how we need to be deviate, what are the simultaneous paths are available, all these things can be we can discuss under this particular tree of thoughts. And the last important advanced technique is the reactive prompting. So that is where combination of the reasoning plus acting. That is where in this agentic AI people are using for developing the agentic AI developments. So reasoning plus acting. So it is actually completely automate the process. We are not going to be any human intervention is actually not required, especially when these kinds of an AI agents are taking over the what exactly the SAR is asking. Many roles are wiping out because it's trying to be understanding the process. It is a continuous process. Earlier, a simple example I can say, if you take the Amazon or Flipkart, because my PhD concept is on the recommendation systems. So what happens earlier is they trained the models, they adapted it back in the 2017 and 2016. So if you click on the one product, even it is not going to be showing you the similar products. Only it is trying to be used, make use of the some kind of a market basket analysis. That means whatever the people frequently purchasing the products, based on that the available information, it is trying to be basketing the things. And so if you purchase this particular product, okay, these are the possible products the user can purchase. That is the earlier version. Okay, after that, what happens back in the 2018 and 2019, especially the machine deep learning techniques are comes into the picture. So they try to be provide the similar visual recommendations. You click on one product, obviously based on the text and the visual features, it is going to be selecting the remaining similar products. If you take one mobile, based on its features, it is trying to be show the similar product. If you click on a saree, it is trying to be show the similar product. If you click on a shirt, it is trying to be show you the similar products. That is back in the 2018, 19, 20. Then shift towards the complementary products. So there is no component for this particular complementary product. What exactly the people likes, but mostly if I have purchased shirt. Especially this was implemented back in the Mitra at the early stage because their R&D team is very highly efficient. So they come up with this particular concept initially in India. If you click on a particular product, it is show you its complementaries. For example, a shirt is clean, the relevant watch, matching pant, or the trousers, or the matching shoes. It is trying to be show you the complementaries. Maybe it not may not be applicable for all the product categories. So what happens is, what I'm telling is, it continuously evolving the technological process. So likewise, whatever the prompts we are giving, so earlier only we are giving based on the result output, it is actually again we need to be refine the prompt, again we are getting the output, refine, optimize. What happened in this particular agentic AI? So that is how the reinforcement learning is actually works. So you give the prompt, if the user satisfies based on the input received, automatically it refines its process immediately and generating for the better output. Internally, it is everything is happening. So that is where this particular React prompting is actually taking the lead nowadays today's world based on the concept called the agentic AI. So used with the AI agents to interact with the tools with the API automatically to produce the best productivity. Okay. So these are the different frameworks. So based on your problems. So these are the things you should remember. RTF sometimes you require only role, task, form. The question in such a way that you need to be formed. What is your role? What is the task? What is the form? This is the simple thing. Next one is K. Context, action, result, example. You provide the context. So, what is the action you want to be performed, and what is the result you require with an example. Similarly, the course. So, you provide the context, objective, action, scenario, and a task. Similarly, tab, task, action, and your final goal, what you want to be achieved. And result, role, input, steps, expectation, narrowing down of your final outcome. So these are the different frameworks. So depends upon your usages, you need to be define your prompt as per this particular framework guidelines. So these are the different examples. Anyhow, we can see. So a good prompt versus the bad prompt. So the general mistakes that we generally do, what exactly is ambiguous prompts. There is no clarity in the what prompts we are actually giving and the missing context. Because context is very much essential. So who is the audience, what is the purpose, and what domain you are actually working in the context. If you can provide, it's going to be provided. Overloaded instructions. This is also actually I need to face this kind of problems. Many times I argued with this particular AI. And keep on asking it is giving some the similar kind of the different results. That means the problem with our prompt only, not with an AI. Okay, and the no output format properly specified, so automatically whatever it likes it give and unrealistic expectations. So this is very much essential. So by default, this particular AI has defined by some database, some set of information. So don't think that it is search in line and getting your data whatever you ask. So unrealistic expectations is also one of the important criteria. So these are the just listed out the possible and mostly using in this particular area: ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, Notebook, LM, Gamma, Canva AI, and one important thing is everything is free up to some extent only, very limited extent, very limited extent. But everything is the paid versions. Whatever the tool, if you have like, you can take either one. No two tools are not required. Something like the chart GPT, I can say, which is an all-rounder. Whatever the tool comes into that, it keeps on improving it, which is like an all-rounder. And Gemini, which is a multimodal, especially make use for better use for the images. And this particular Claude, especially for the coding and even generating the prompts. For example, you want to be perform something in the chat GPT, go to the Claude, ask the prompt, whatever the role I have specified, right? The context role. So likewise, you formulate something and you ask that I want a prompt for the chat GPT. So it is going to be give the prompt and copy that particular prompt and paste it into the chat GPT or the Gemini. So it is going to be give some this particular card is actually working on this particular prompts are very well. Similarly, Notebook LM, we will discuss Notebook LM Gamma, Microsoft Copilot, especially for the most of the companies, corporate companies are using Microsoft Copilot for their day-to-day productivity. because they are dealing with a lot of office tools. So it is continuously analyze the tools and giving the results based on this particular copilot. And elicit, CSpace, Grammarly, all these can be utilized for your research tool purpose. And GitHub Copilot is also one thing in compared with the Copilot for the better coding purpose. So these are the few examples I have actually taken out, personally tested it under the Gemini AI. So you should understand which tool we can use it for which purpose. ChatGPT, as I said, all-rounder. Gemini is a multi-modal, actually which is designed for the multi-modal to process images and videos. Nowadays, earlier ChatGPT only is restricted to the text only. Okay, later it incorporated the images, videos, audios, everything. Now it is converted into the multimodal also. But this particular Gemini, the main intention of designing this Gemini AI is the multimodal approach. That means all the multimodal data, text, images, video, audio. So it is capable enough of processing the different contextual information. Something like I have taken this image, given this image. I want to be explain the content. So it is given some clear content. So likewise, whatever the image you have given, some graphs you can give, ask to be interpret the particular graph. So it is going to give. Even you can upload handwritten notes. It is going to be give the essence from that particular notes. I may not say it is 100% accurate. You should see that whether it is correctly given or not. That means it should have a knowledge on the data. So next one is the notebook LM. Anyone use notebook LM? Very few. So what is this particular notebook LM is? Notebook LM is different from the remaining books, which is the product from the Google also, Notebook LM. So those who are having the Google Gemini AI subscription, they can access this particular Notebook LM also. Okay. So what happens is, in this particular Notebook LM, we need to be provide the data. For example, you have your lesson plan, you have your PPTs, you have your lecture notes. Okay. So you give this input to your notebook LM. So then, from that you can ask the questions. From that you can ask the question. For example, without providing the data, you want to create some 10 MCQs for the students for the big one or big two. So generally, you provide the subject name and you provide the syllabus. Automatically, it will give something. Maybe you can go beyond the syllabus what we have provided. But in this particular notebook LM, you can provide your syllabus, you can provide your teaching aids and materials, everything to this particular one. It analyzes and it fixes the boundaries, and from that it is trying to be peak and prepare the questions. And also, it can create the student handbooks. Everything you can create actually. So you have your existing models with existing nodes with you. You can perform all these activities. So it will open the notebook LM like this. So you can click on the try notebook, and then you can create new. So here you can upload whatever the content you are having, and you can ask the question. Even if you do not have the content, okay. So if you ask the prompt, it will set from the internet. So what is the difference between the Chat GPT or Gemini over here is, so first, for example, let us say create a notes on digital signature. So just I am giving the prompt, I am not providing any sources to this particular one. So I am just entering it. So it is trying to be searching from the internet. See, it is trying to be list out the different sources it is actually fetched. Okay. Now what I'm going to be doing is I need to be import this particular one. That means I want to be make use of this particular one. So that means whatever the content is there from those websites or the materials, it is actually imported. So once the everything is imported, okay, on the right hand side is here we can see there are a lot of things we can generate. So you can generate an audio overview from your content. So you can generate the slide deck. This is what the people. Okay. So whatever the content you provided, based on the content you provided, it is going to be generate the slide decks. And it is also provide a video overview based on that some 5 minutes. It will take time, otherwise I will show you. So and it is also provide the mind map. Depends on the content if it is available. And similarly, it provides the reports, flashcards, quizzes, infographics, tables, if a data is needs to be presented on the digital form. So everything we are able to be provided, and this we can make use into the class. Maybe the material you provide, you can provide the quizzes. Okay, as I said in the middle of the class, so you can show this particular quizzes to the student. You can ask for that. Okay, what are the questions? Maybe you can stop at some point of time after taking 15 minutes of the class. You can stop and immediately can show this quiz. So by generating this particular quiz, you can show it. Similarly, flashcards also something like that. Some important points where you can show it, throw it to the students. So yeah, all these things are the free. Maybe those who are having the Geo using the mobile phones, it is providing them 18 months free subscription. So nowadays, anyhow, they want to be make use of these products, and maybe after 18 months of the subscription, they will charge. But at least we can make use of. With the GMI connection, I am using all these things only. So this is one important aspect. The important thing I want to be telling here is notebook LM, where you need to be provide the data in order to be getting the required amount of the presentations. Where the ChatGPT, Gemini, you need not to be of course you can provide the data from the call it is such. But this one, especially the notebook LM, is designed only for the providing from your data. It is actually providing the all these things. Okay, so this is where one important aspect we need to understand from the notebook LM. So you can do multiple things. You can create the teaching notes. You can create the literature review. So that means you can provide multiple. You downloaded 50 literature survey papers. You give it, ask the summarize. It will give. It will not go beyond that particular survey papers or whatever it is. Or maybe people are preparing for the PhDs. So you take some research papers, from that you ask the question, so what is the methodologies they have used, what are the limitations, so what will be the extent for that particular papers, maybe you download another 10 research papers. So that might be helpful for the budding researchers. So likewise, you can perform many things. You can create the revised materials. You can create the question banks. You can consolidate the knowledge by using the mind maps. And similarly, any documents we can create it. But the important aspect here is we need to be provide the documents. That is where the notebook LM is actually performing. And the next important tool is the Google AI Studio. Anyone use? So this is also one of the important tool, especially for the teaching process. Google AI Studio. It is also a product from the Google as itself it is clearly said. Of course, primarily all the AI tools are doing the same. But at some point of time, each one has its some own specialty. So even we can leverage this particular Google AI tool, something like so whatever you ask, it is actually give. So especially what exactly for this particular Google AI Studio we can use it, we can create some demonstratable apps. Some kind of a demonstratable apps. It's something like a prototype models. So generally we use step into some kind of a stores, mobile stores. So there will be some prototype mobiles. So which will resembles the original product. Okay. So likewise, you need not to be any coding knowledge over here. For example, whether I'm saying it right or not, for civil engineering, they want to be demonstrate how the strength of the concrete. They want to be shown through some sort of a simulation. By passing some parameters, it's trying to be show you some simulation. Or for the mechanical engineering. Maybe especially for the CSA, we can not only this, we can demonstrate through any tools. So likewise, you ask prompt properly to this particular Google AI Studio, it is going to be create some demonstratable preview app so that we can preview that particular one so that people better understand this is what an experiential learning. This is the experiential learning. We theoretically say, instead of theoretically say, you show it and run it directly on the screen so that people will understand. Maybe people they can run in their even in their mobiles also. Some sort of even students, kids are doing a little kind of an apps by using this particular Google AI Studio. You create anything, something, whether the prompt is right or not, just I am giving this particular prompt. Create an app to demonstrate the strength of the concrete concrete pillar for civil engineering students. So one important aspect here is the A, whatever the mistakes we have written, it will correct it and it is going to be trying to process the prompt. So you click on the run control. See here it is generating the code. See something like that. Some sort of preview is generated. So depends upon our prompts. It is going to be generate. So you can change some sort of parameters over here, and immediately you can change the structures and graphical parameters. So this is just a demo. I am trying to explain so that you can create any sort of visualizations over here for the preview purpose. So instead of showing in the textual format, you can provide. You need to be asked. So for the prompt, you can take it from the Gemini or Claude or from the ChatGPT.
Sir, I have one question.
That's it.
Suppose I deployed my algorithms in Streamlit. I got some bugs. Just I wanted the absolute like extremely collapsed.
Yes. You need to be fit into your research pattern. For processing the higher quality images. Higher quality images we can use Gemini or ChatGPT. We need to be important, we need to be okay. But one problem over here is, as I said, which is the generative AI. The problem over here is the problem with the generative AI means it will change the resolution. Images we don't get any plagiarism, but the thing is the originality definitely will change. The color contrast, everything. So what we are actually generating through our Python code or any other source tools. So it's trying to be give the similar kind of an images, but the problem over here is it is trying to be give the generated image, not the original. And one important thing is, I think if anybody using the Samsung Galaxy phones or any other phones, okay, people are getting the 100 pixels. That means even we can take the photo of the room. That is the generated AI image, not the original image. They are showing, demonstrating that we can zoom that much of length. Okay, it is taking that picture, taking that context, and it is generating the image, not actually taking from our original lens of the particular mobile. That is also processed. Even those companies are agreeing, which is not the original image, which is actually a generated image. So that is the business technique to showcase that okay, we can project or we can gather the long distance images also. Okay, so this is the one important tool where we can see the Google Studio, especially maybe we can use it for the many purpose, but the Google Studio especially we can create some little apps, a basic apps for a preview purpose, so that we can make better understanding into the use. So this is also comes under the experiential one kind of a pedagogy, because all these tools we can enable it, including in our pedagogy, so that we can call it as an innovative teaching pedagogies. We can shift from modern teaching to the innovative teaching. If you are not utilizing of these AI assisted tools, then definitely it is a modern. Next, gamma AI. Anyone use? I think mostly you might aware of this gamma AI. So this particular gamma AI, especially for creating the PPTs, especially creating the PPTs, compared to any other AI tools. Maybe ChatGPT, of course, ChatGPT will not give proper presentations. It will give the content. Only we need to be formulate the content. Gemini, it will not provide proper. So, one important tool widely acceptable around the world, especially in India, most of our educators are using this particular Gamma AI, especially in the north side. Many of them have taken the subscriptions because it reduces a lot of work for the teachers. The way it provides the PPT is also very professional and very content. The what are the examples it is giving, everything is highly aligned. So this particular Gamma AI has a free version. We can generate up to 10 slides under the free version. So once you have logged in, you will see this particular screen. So then you can create a new AI. And one important thing is, I can say, if you have taken subscription, so different colleges, maybe in our colleges or in our college also, we have one rule that we need to be present on our fixed time. Earlier, those who worked from the past 5 years, we are not going to be present our PPTs in the different templates. We need to be record our PPT maybe for the recording studio. Maybe we need to be present So we have some kind of a fixed template like a blue, white, and MSRIT logo, something like that. So if you have the paid subscription, you can upload that template, and the PPTs will be generated through the template only. But as in the free version, we are not going to be do that. It is not available. So here we can click generate. So now here you can give your topic, any topic. For example, any topic from audience, any topic to generate a PPT. Generate to AI. So create a simple prompt I am giving. Create a PPT on generative AI to explain BTech third year student. So here initially it is fixed to the 10 cards, that means the 10 slides. See here you can see to need more slides means you need go for the subscriptions. So 15 and 20 cards you require the plus subscription, more than that you require the pro subscription. So as it is a free template, I am using to generate for understanding some 4 cards, 4 slides. So I click on the generate outline. So first, directly it is not going to be generate the PPT. It is going to be give you the outline. If you like this outline, you can go for the generate. Otherwise, you revise your prompt and it is going to give you the outline. Okay. So first one generative AI revolution. Second slide traditional AI. Third one core mechanism. Fourth one toolkit. Something like that. It is given. So here now I am clicking on the generate. So now it is going to be creating the PPT. Even before generating also, you can select the template under which template. It's some free templates are also available. So there you can select the template and accordingly the PPT is going to be generated. So depends upon the context and speed, it is trying to be generate the images. So it is generated. So I am trying to be export. Export here we have an option. Export as a PDF. See, this is the thing which is generated. So this is the first slide, and this is the second slide. This is the third one, and this is the fourth one. So definitely it is better than many tools compared to for generating the teaching materials, teaching materials. So it is going to be give some professional and also related to our country. But we should ask the query properly. That means whatever the prompt we are giving. So accordingly, you can mention, you specify these examples, you restrict it to this particular topic, so that accordingly first it give you the preview. That is the one important thing which is there with this particular GAM. So if your preview is not like, then you define your thing. So then if you are okay with the preview, that means all the slides, you generate this particular preview. Okay, so if anybody likes, you can take this particular subscription, because this is one of the important, easier our day-to-day activity, so that we can better visualize and present to the students. So this is the one of the important tool as specified. So some other tools I just want to be introduced to you all. So there will be 8 different tools are there. So one is the napkin AI. Next one is the consensus. Third one is the research rabbit. Fourth one is the Shumada A. So, especially this particular napkin A. So this we can use it for converting our text into diagram into the process. So for example, this diagram is there. So you specify the steps. So what is the first step? So course outcome followed by the assessment, attainment, continuous evaluation. So simply arrow, that means write the first one arrow, next one arrow. So not only it is going to be provided in this way, there are several types of formats are available. Several way of visualizations are available. So in order to be provide your text into the proper visualized way, diagrammatical way, so that maybe this particular napkin A is also helpful. At the free credit, we can do some multiple things, and also we can have the research rabbit. This is especially for the research and Humata AI. This is also we can use it for the documenting and analyzing the content. What are the things we have provided? Just my objective is to be show what are the various powerful tools are available, which generally using by the several other colleges or the universities. There are many tools are available, and similarly, out of which there is one important thing over here is agent, agent A. Okay. So what exactly this particular agent A does is, I said one approach flipped classroom. So what exactly we do in the flipped classroom? We try to provide material to the students prior to the class. So that may be in the format of the PPT, materials or a video. So here I am talking about a video. So what video you are trying to be provided here is, so you don't have a time to record a video. So you want to be give an overview of at least 5 minutes. Okay. So then you can make use of this particular agent here. What exactly it asks you to be? It asks you to be record your video for 15 seconds. It will ask you record your video for the 15 seconds. Then it will create your avatar. Okay, it will show you some 3 to 4 avatars, whichever avatar the attire and the look, whichever avatar you like. So you need to be selected. So the voice is ours, the avatar is ours. So it will ask you to be read out some 15-second content over. It will show you on the screen. So we need to be read it out, and it will create our avatar along with our voice. So then, whatever the content you want to be specified in that particular video, you take that entire script, the content in the format of the text. So you give it as a prompt. Okay, so that this particular avatar like this is going to be created. The video you can download and you can give it to the student. So it is going to be, so this is going to be your avatar and voice is yours. So it is going to be explained about the 5 to 10 minutes introduction about the particular content. Likewise, I said SQL injection. So I explained some SQL injection about the 5 minutes. So student understand, they can refer other materials also. So that this can be, we can give it to the like we can use it for the flipped classroom scenario. So this is one of the things we can make use of it. At the free credit, maybe per month there is a limitation is there. Some credits are there, and maybe 3 to 4 videos we can create per month. It's limited, and as in the free case, maybe you can take the subscription. We can do it. And similarly, Element Labs, especially converting your data, that is whatever the thing into the voice. Your materials, everything, the information, we can convert it into the AI voice so that we can share it into that is the Google Classroom and all. So they can listen this particular voice instead of studying the books. You can summarize the content. So likewise, it will create the mind maps, the Mapify for better understanding, for better visualization, but it is not free. So we cannot export the image whatever it is generated because every tool is I have tried and I am telling you. So this Mapify, it will generate, but the thing is we cannot extract. So if we give the unit 1, it will give entire mind map it is going to give. The problem is we cannot save that particular image unless you take the subscription. So directly maybe you can show it on the screen. So that will be very good to project it for the students. That is not, nothing is hidden, right? Everything is public, everything But the only thing is you can make use directly in the class. You can generate, you can zoom in how the concept is organized. What are the central topics, what are the subtopics. So everything it is beautifully generated like these mind maps. And Leonardo AI, which is also used for the research analysis. So these are the some 8 tools apart from the whatever the general tools which I have discussed. So all these tools are the specific purpose. All these tools are the specific purpose. Whatever the 8 slides I have, 8 tools I have shown you, these are the specific purpose. But this particular chart GPT, Gemini, and all these are the general purpose.
So can we directly upload our documents? Directly, yeah, we will store it in the database.
Yes, sir.
Then it will be.
So that is why the problem, especially by companies or the corporates are saying that very confidential material they do not need to be uploaded in this particular AI tools. We should be very cautious, even especially whatever which is not much confidential, only those things we need to be uploaded. Something like that, our materials and all we can upload. Maybe some confidential documents like where we go for the rankings and all. That we need to be see case by case, sir. Research we can upload, sir, no issue. Research, no issue. Because it will not come under the practice. Because I have created my paper. I want to be tested. For example, I have written one paper. I need to be checked how far my paper is content. I am targeting for the Q1, assuming that. Okay, now I have attached my paper to the chart GPT. And they have given my prompt act as a reviewer for so and so general perspective or elsewhere, whatever it is. So analyze strengths and weaknesses of my paper and also provide the suitable journals which I can submit. And my time limit is I require only 6 months of duration. So accordingly you suggest and there will be an OAPC. So it generates, it will give you the strengths and weaknesses so that it will help you to there will be no problem that my paper is uploaded in the public domain. So there is no issue which is there saved in our account. And after that we can delete that particular chart also. So that there will be no issue. But we should be cautious while using any of these apps. We should aware of that what is the app is actually processing. Earlier cognitive is there. Cognitive for the plagiarism checking. So what happens? A few universities are making that whatever we uploaded, it will becomes under the plagiarism. First time you upload, it will check the plagiarism. Second time you upload, your paper itself making you the plagiarism. The problem it needs to be is the administrator of that particular university needs to be set that there will be some options will be there. So it will not come under, it will not be stored automatically. Once the process is completed, it will be deleted.
Yes, everything is fine.
Everything is fine, sir. Absolutely fine. This is the gold standard for every research.
That is, I know, but it is going to check the data also later.
It is detecting the AI practice. Because nowadays most of the reviewers are using for AI checking for cognitive mode. Yeah. Because even if you are writing the papers, the first thing is earlier we check for the plagiarism. Now we are checking for the AI plagiarism.
Especially the differences, what we are talking is,
That is case by case. Differences. The problem is one general policy is different. Some are excluding the references. Some journals are including the references. So that is everywhere we are fighting with this particular aspect. Because references generally they do not consider, but few journals, especially IEEE based journals, they are actually including the references in the plugins.
that use was not like
But still they are asking below 10% they are required, including the references. That is the one of the greatest challenge for the review. So, final closing. So, pedagogy provides the purpose, what we have discussed, why we are doing this particular pedagogy, and the practice provides the experience, and AI provides the skill. So, together they enable effective teaching and meaningful learning. So, we should inculcate all these things in our day-to-day activities when you are talking about this 21st skill teaching. So, that means we need to be include modern, we need to be extended to the innovative pedagogies, we need to be include the AI assisted tools in our innovate pedagogy, so that otherwise we cannot be called it as innovate. Okay, so then definitely our ultimate objective is to be, we need to be transform our student to impact the society. So that is the ultimate goal of the any organization or as a teacher, that is our ultimate goal. So if a student fails, that is not our objective, right? So he or she wants to be become successful and they should be impactful in the society. So that is where my closing remarks, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I will share the materials, and actually I have created several prompts for practice purpose. Something like that for in order to be practicing for the all the zero shot prompt, one shot, and chain of thought, instructor promptings. So actually, I thought of the lab should be available, but it's not there. So altogether, how we can? So this is the general prompt. So in place of topic, we can give you a topic and you can generate all these things. So some ready-made prompts I have created that you can define it on the later on. So different for the teaching learning practices, lesson plan generation, link pair share. This is for the even we required documentation for every pedagogy we use. So what you need to be doing is you need to be get the documentation from this the topic which you have delivered. Only thing is you need to be attached the image so that the document will get ready. So likewise we need to be reduce our workload, problem based learning, case studies. Okay, some kind of a faculty activities, the topics, taxonomy, Bloom's taxonomy for the given topic. Accordingly, we need to be create on these things. And similarly for the assessment, designing of the MCQs. And designing of the MCQs also, we should remember all the levels of the taxonomy. That means at what level we have discussed. So those things should be covered. And similarly, course outcomes, Bloom's mapping, CO, PO, something like you can provide all the COs for your subject, and you can ask COPO mapping matrix with justification. With proper justification, even you can ask justification with example, because some assessor may ask, okay, that is fine, but you should explain related to your subject. If you are mapping with the first year engineering science, okay, I have some mathematical concept, I have not like that. You should explain, okay, sir, these are the topics are available, these are the things I am discussing. So that is why I have mapped with the two. That kind of a justification. So that everything you are able to be generate with this justification. So you need to understand if you are aware of the subject, those things we can do, and evaluation of the rubrics, all these things can be performed. And also for the notebook LM and even for the Google AI Studio also, some cases, even if you are able to be scan all your assignments, if in give it or maybe scanned assignments are with you, you just try it. Give it and you can assess all these scanned material. It will assess and it is going to be give you the outcome, how that particular papers are written. That is also possible with the notebook element. That is what where this particular notebook element Google AI Studio is actually mastered in that particular aspect, taking your input and it is going to be perform the assessments. So these are the different things which I have created. So I will share all these prompts. So if anybody have not practiced it, just go through it, these prompts first. I think. So then you can create even more prompts. Only thing is continuous practice. So again, I am saying that AI is not replacement. This is only our helping hand. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And tomorrow's session is on the research methodologies and followed by the how to prepare a proper math script. So that is going to be delivered by the Dr. D. Sirisha Madam of DNRD. So that tomorrow is the last session. So don't miss the last session. Patiently have listened from the past 5 days. So continue with this same mode and conclude with the good aspiration for the next upcoming sessions followed by the next week. Thank you.
So thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Good day.
దీని మీద మీరు మీ టార్గెట్ డీప్ డైవ్ అని చెప్పేసారు
అట్లీస్ట్ ఒక 10 మంది అయినా మనకి అన్ని
వెంటనే చేయాలి
ఇది మార్చాలి షేర్ చేస్తాను సార్ వన్ ఆప్ టాప్ రికార్డింగ్ ఉంది
మీరు ఒక్కరే తీసుకుంటారు 7, 8 Ram sir, after 100, 101 sir marks. What extra sir? The patience means commitment is. ఈరోజు కూడా ఒకసారి ఏ వాడు